For this lesson, we're going to talk about how to multiply binomials mentally, and this is going to lead us up to more work with factoring later on in this chapter. I know a lot of you are good at multiplying these, doing FOIL in your head, and it's very easy to see that x times x is x squared and the 5 times 7 is the 35. And there should be an easy way to figure out this middle term if we actually just take a look at the numbers here. So when you take a look at the numbers, is there anything that you notice? Well, you should notice that the coefficient of the middle term, whether it's positive 2 or negative 2 or negative 12 or positive 12, is the sum of the numbers at the ends of the parentheses here. So the sum of 7 and 5 is 2, negative 7 and 5 is negative 2, 7 and 5 is 12, negative 7 and negative 5 is negative 12. So it's very easy to get this coefficient of the middle term if we just add the last two terms in each binomial. So I'd like you to try to do a few of these yourself. So take a minute and pause the video and try to figure out these mentally by using that idea of summing the last two terms in each binomial to help you get the coefficient of the middle term. All right, hopefully you've had a chance to do these. Let's take a look at the answers so you can check your work. So you can see that it's very easy to get this middle term by just adding the coefficients or the numbers at the end here. So 4 plus 2 gives us 6 for our middle term, negative 5 plus negative 3 gives us negative 8, and so on. Be very careful with your sign on your last term. Notice here we multiply a positive times a negative, so we have a negative times a negative, so we have a positive. Let's take a look at a few more examples. Here we need to do maybe a little bit more work and be a little more careful. So 2x times 3x is going to give us 6x squared. And I can't just add the 1 and the 4 to get my middle term, because now notice we're multiplying the 4 times the 3x here and the 2x times the 1 here. So we have to be careful. I'm going to actually write these down so we have a record of them. The 4 times the 3x is 12x, and the 2x times the 1 is 2x, and then we multiply our last terms together to get 4 times 1, which is 4. And the only thing we'd want to do then to finish this up would be to combine our like terms, which we have in the middle here. Our like terms are the 2x and the 12x, and when we combine those two like terms, we'd have 14x. So our final answer for this first one is 6x squared plus 14x plus 4. This next one is very similar. We're going to multiply the first two terms together. We'd have a 6x squared. And then I'm going to need to be very careful with my positive and negative signs. We'd have our inside terms here, negative 12x, so minus 12x. And then we're going to multiply the first term and the last term together. We'd have 2x times negative 1. We'd have minus 2x. And then we'd have a negative 4 times a negative 1. That's going to be positive 4. So when we combine like terms for this one, our final answer is going to be 6x squared minus 14x, because we have a negative 12x minus 2x. So 6x squared minus 14x plus 4. All right, the next two, I'd like you to take a second, pause the screencast, and try to do those two on your own. All right, let's take a look at the answers for these to see if you did them correctly. I know the numbers were a little bit bigger for these, but I know you guys can handle it. All right, let's take a look at one last example where we might see multiplying binomials in solving an equation. So let's take a look at this example here. Here we have x minus 4 times the quantity x plus 9 and the quantity x plus 5 times the quantity x minus 3, and we need to see when those two products are equal. So I'm going to take x times x, and I'll get x squared, and since the coefficient is 1 here on both of these x's, to get my middle term, I'm just going to add 9 and negative 4. So I know my middle term is going to be 5x, and then my last term is going to be negative 4 times 9, and that's minus 36. And now I'm going to multiply on the right hand side. X times x is going to give me x squared. And then I'm going to have, since the coefficients are 1, I can add the 5 and negative 3 to get my middle term. That's going to give me plus 2x. And then 5 times negative 3 is going to give me a negative 15. Now the convenient thing here for this particular problem is that when I subtract x squared from both sides, I'll no longer have an x squared term. So I'm just going to cross those off here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually subtract 2x from both sides. And 5x minus 2x is going to give me 3x on the left. So on the left-hand side, I'll have 3x minus 36. And on the right-hand side, I still have negative 15. Be very careful with your negative signs that you don't drop them as you solve these equations. So then the next thing I'll do is to get x by itself is I'm going to add 36 to both sides. And negative 15 is what I have on the right. Negative 15, let's make that look like a negative 15. Negative 15 plus 36 is 21. So I have 3x equals 21, and if 3x is equal to 21, that means that x is equal to 7. And you can very easily go back through and check to make sure your solution is right by substituting 7 back into the original expression up here. 7 minus 4 would be 3. 7 plus 9 would be 16. So on the left side, when we multiply those together, we'd have 48. On the right-hand side, 7 plus 5 would be 12. Oop. Let's try this again. 7 plus 5 would be 12. And then 7 minus 3 would be 4. And I know 12 times 4 is 48. And I know 3 times 16 is 48. So I know that I've found the correct solution. My solution to this equation is x equals 7. Please make sure you do the few survey questions after you've done your screencast notes. Thanks.